Hello, good morning, everyone. I am Dia Eka Yulianti from Regular MBA IPMI class September 2022. Today, I would like to share about the mind map of global economy and international business lesson, which the lecturer of Professor Roy and Ibu Yulita. Started with the overview of global economy and international business lesson, we learn about global trade, international strategy, international finance, international business function, international issues in global economy and global marketing. The project that we got from this lesson is we make multimedia video doing business Indonesia, group project learn about book reviewing in globalization and its dense content, and we also got the event analysis task and the cases from for each lesson from Zara, SeaKids, Coca-Cola, and then we also got the task of individual analysis of MNC and mind map of the lessons. Introduction to global economy, we should know the existing condition and situation about global economy in general. In this chart, talking about long history of global economy, it summarized big picture of international economy, which figures the domination of GDP shares over the time from Eastern, then gradually the center of gravity. International economy started to move to the West and then back again to the East after the World War II. In the 21st century of economy, the rank of GDP purchasing power parity in 2019 started with Tiongkok, India, and Japan. GDP PPP is we adjust the dollar of GDP based on the purchasing of dollar one country compared to the purchasing of US dollar. In the rise of new economy, the definition is old economy plus digitization, capital mobility, and liberalization. It triggers to better customer services, cost reduction, transparency, and competency. In global economy and globalization, there are also critics and also the positive things. And also there are also external disruption and VUCA, which trigger to the new business model, rising debt and debt ratio, trade war, natural disaster, and high political issue. In digital versus laser economy, there are differences from any factors from market-driven value proposition, key attribute, customer engagement, value strategy, and enablers. If we talk about Indonesia economy condition, in 2010 and 2014, the infrastructure investment is below 10%. It's because we have to maintain the debt ratio because of the crisis before. The GDP growth is decline and then the debt ratio to GDP ratio is increasing significantly. Indonesia actually is in the right track, but we are lacking of talented. This is the Indonesian SWOT. We can look at the strength. We have biodiversity. In the weakness, we have KKN and low enforcement, which is very low. And then in the opportunity, we have growth of China, US economic recovery. And in the threat, we have terrorism. The second lesson we learn about global trade started with commercial policies, the analysis between tariffs and quota. Tariff is a tax of import, while quota is a physical limit on an import quantity. The differences between quota and tariff are the quotas do not generate revenue for the government. Increases foreign productivity do not result in lower prices with quota, but they do with a tariff. Quota can increase foreign profits. While the similar between quotas and tariff, both of them reduce imports. For any quota, there is a tariff equivalent. Both increase domestic prices, reduce domestic consumption, and increase domestic production. We learn also about the consumer and production surplus, where the consumer is the difference between what a consumer is willing to pay and what they paid for a product. The production is the difference between the market price and the lowest price of a producer is willing to accept to produce a good. Graphically, in supply and demand system, consumer surplus is the area under the demand curve and above the price, while the Production surplus is the area above the supply curve and below the price. In the resource allocation, effects can be broken down into losses on the production side and on the consumption side. In the production, we call it with efficiency loss. In the consumption, we call it with deadweight loss. Talking about intellectual property, we have patents, copyrights and trademarks, industrial design, geographical designation, integrated circuit layouts. Lack of intellectual property rights enforcement is considered a non-tariff measure because it limits trade flow. In international finance, we learn about international finance management tasks, started from choose a capital structure, raise funds for the firm, working capital and cash flow management, capital budgeting, managing currency risk, managing the diversity of international accounting and tax practices. And then we also learn about the top risk of international business from commercial, cross-cultural, country, and currency. We also learn about the differences between absolute and comparative advantage. And the interesting one is we learn about the factors that affect the currency exchange rate, which is international trade of goods, international securities, and aided with risk perception. In international opportunity, talking about the comparison between domestic company to MNC cost-benefit evaluation. It measure with marginal return on project and marginal cost of capital. In international issues, we learn about subprime mortgage crisis and Silicon Valley Bank, where in subprime mortgage crisis, it happened in 2008, initially arose in the US when investor lost confidence in the value of securitized home mortgage, that is subprime mortgage crisis. I stated here the chronologies, impact, and action. Hope one day you can read it. And then in Silicon Valley Bank, which has happened recently in 2022, Silicon Valley Bank, one of bank in America that has a very growth, has been collapsed, focused on startup and tech company investment. Well, the impact is lost trust from US investor, but actually no direct impact for global economy worldwide as in subprime mortgage crisis. In international business, we learn about the definition of international business, where business transaction between parties from more than one countries related to the raw materials, finished goods, services across borders, operating factories and facilities overseas, and also the borrowing money. The international opportunities consist of investment and financing opportunities. Talking about investment, we talk about marginal return. Talking about financing, we talk about capital funding. In the leveling of business, started with domestic business in one country, international based in one country, and have resources sharing and get revenue from other countries. Multinational, the business is spread all over the world. The business is based in one country and got to export and import in other countries, while the global have the standard when it held a business in another country. Globalization process, talking about exporting, importing, and licensing. Globalization process, the form can be joint venture, direct investment, and strategic alliance. We talk also about benefits, barrier, and risk of globalization. The benefits is reduced marketing costs, new market opportunities, global sustainability, and access lower cost worker. While the barriers, cultural source and country origin effects, and noise levels. While the risk is cross-cultural, commercial, currency, and country. In the next lesson, we learn about strategy and organization in international firm, where the objective is to gain the efficiency, flexibility, and learning. Talking about foreign market entry strategies, this is the activity, And then the multi-domestic industry is the customized product based on the local taste. The products still have similar name, but based on the regulation on every country. The example is the British publisher Bloomsbury has translated each volume of its Harry Potter series into the local language in every country where the book is sold. The global industry, we make the standardize of the product, and then global integration, we coordinate of the firm's value chain activities across multiple countries to achieve worldwide efficiency, synergy, and cross-fertilization to take the advantages of similarities between countries. This is the four strategies emerging from integration responsiveness framework. Global strategy based on R&D, the product that can accept everywhere in the world. Transactional strategy, standardized but more appropriate. They adjust it with the country they need. KFC, McD, and then the localized strategy. The firm develops separate operating subsidiaries. The home replication strategy, the firm uses the competitive approach it developed in its home market. In the last lesson, we talk about marketing in global firm. A global market segment, a group of customers that share common characteristic across many national markets, which is standardization and adaptation. Standardization is exemplifies global integration as is more appropriate in global industry, while adaptation is exemplifies local responsiveness and is more appropriate in multi-domestic industry. We learn also about international pricing, advertising, and distribution. Example of three pricing strategies: rigid cost plus pricing, flexible cost plus pricing, and incremental pricing. This is the gray marketing, means that the legal importation of genuine products into a country but other than authorized intermediaries. It large difference in pricing of some same product between two countries, often the result of company strategy. In the last lesson, we also learn about human resources in global business. This is the standard practice happen in around the world about HR is the same, but the challenge is consists of new HR responsibility, the need for a broader perspective, greater involvement, managing the mix of expatriate versus locals, greater exposure, and external influence. Our lesson is closed with the case study of Coca-Cola and Zara. Thank you guys for reviewing the global economy with me. See you.